Living in any country is not easy, and so is living in China. So if you want to move from survival to thriving mode as a foreigner in China, or you are someone who is looking for an opportunity to work with China, to collaborate with China in many ways, it could be business or any other thing, personal reasons, travel, etc. This video is for you because I'm going to share 10 tips that are going to help you move from survival mode to thriving mode. Hello and welcome to Navigating China podcast. I am your host, Nikita Makwana. Let us start with the first one, the language. I know that this one is quite debatable. There are people who believe that, well, you can live in China without learning the language. It does not matter. And some believe you have to learn it. Now, I'm going to put it out for you based on my experience. Living in China without understanding the Chinese language will put you in a survival mode for the longest of time. Why? Many Chinese people do not speak English, and those that do speak English, they actually are not so confident to speak it. So everywhere that you go, whether you get in a Didi or a taxi, you're going to have to speak Chinese. While you are attending classes, those of you who are studying with Chinese colleagues, or you're working with Chinese colleagues, whatever setup you are in, you would agree with me that they mostly prefer to use the Chinese language. Let me specify. Majority of them, they use Mandarin or Putonghua, the general language, right? So if you speak the language, it's easy for you to navigate, number one, relationships. As a matter of fact, I call Mandarin a relationship toolkit. Why do I say that? It's easy to build a relationship with Chinese when you can speak Mandarin compared to someone who is not able to speak the language. So it will help you build solid relationships. It will help you to just be able to strike conversations around with people. It will help you to carry out different activities. It will help you to go to the market and be able to negotiate prices. Those are just a few examples that I could give you. And that is why I'm confident to say it will move you from survival to thriving mode. Why won't you take the opportunity to learn a language? I must emphasize that this is a personal preference. This is something that requires an investment in terms of time, in terms of resources as well. I don't want to leave you hanging on that one. Do you know that I run an online school where I teach people from different countries Chinese language, and recently we are looking forward to expanding our teams and having more teachers. So if you are taking this tip to heart and feel like it's something that you really want to do, I'm going to share the registration link and then you can register to join the next class. Now, let us look at the second aspect that I think is very important. That is understanding the culture. Culture in China is everything. Whether you're going for business meetings, whether you're attending classes, culture is so strong in China. So you have to understand the nature of the Chinese people, the nature of their culture. I love to say that they have a high context culture. If you don't know what a high context culture is the kind of culture where you have to read in between the lines. People in China are not so direct. So if you are working right now with your Chinese supervisors or your Chinese colleagues, you might have already noticed that they don't tell you things directly. Okay, they don't tell you how they feel directly. If maybe you are looking forward to getting feedback from your colleagues or your supervisor, they have what we call 委婉. They are very 委婉. 委婉 means indirect. So they won't give you direct criticism. That's something that you have to know. So invest in learning the Chinese culture so that you can hear what is not being spoken. Another thing that I want you to know in order to thrive in China is to build dual communities. What do I mean by building dual communities? Build a community of foreigners, people that are coming from the same country with you, or people that are not native people in China. They have You people have shared experience. So you are able to understand them. They are also able to understand you. This is very important for your well-being. Okay. Secondly, in that, you have to also build relationships with the Chinese people. This is something that I have enjoyed over the years and I recommend all the time. I build families with foreigners, people from my country, and as well as building families with the Chinese people. Once in a week, I meet my Chinese family, and you know where the perks are? I get to learn the language. So it's like free lessons. I get to understand the authentic, unfiltered culture because I go to places where they go, and I don't always buy chicken from the shops. There are places where they show me where to get the cheapest things, including something as simple as a chicken. So I go and buy the fresh one. Okay. They show me things around. It's like in my language, we have a saying, dichachi. Dichachi, it means those spaces that you wouldn't know unless somebody has shown you those places. So it's like exclusive things for natives. You will end up knowing them if you have Chinese friends. So go ahead, build a relationship with your Chinese friends. Practice your language to understand Chinese and to have an authentic feel of the place that you are in. They'll introduce you to many other people. And I must highlight there that Chinese people, or in the Chinese culture, people thrive in a community. There are things that you would not get if you don't have Chinese friends. And there are things that you wouldn't know until you have Chinese friends. Even little things like sports, the kind of sports that Chinese people play. I have I have a friend here who taught me how to play. It's called Damajiang. It's a very popular game that they play on the southern part. So I would not have known that if I did not have a Chinese friend. So that is very important for you. And then let us go to the fourth aspect. People usually underestimate this, but I think it's critical. You have to understand politics in China, and then you have to also respect the boundaries. Now, you do not have to be an expert in politics for you to understand Chinese politics. You don't have to love the way China runs its politics for you to understand it. You understand it so that you are able to know what is going on in China. How do Chinese people interpret politics? How do they relate with leaders? What is it that I can put online? What is it that I cannot put online? Again, this is not a matter of whether you like it or you don't like it, you support China's ideology, its political system or not. It's about being in China and understanding how it works and make sure that it works for you, or making sure that you respect the boundaries. You don't find yourself maybe stepping in places you're not supposed to step, or talking about things that people in China might find very, very offensive. If you've been living in China for some time, I want to hear what your opinion has been and what has your understanding of Chinese politics been over time. I'm going to take a sip and then we move to the fifth point. Number 5, understanding China's approach to religion. Now, religion is one of the most sensitive topics in China and in the rest of the world. You know why? Because people have various religions. This is something that if you are from a country like mine in Botswana, where there is freedom of religion, and you come to China, you're going to notice a huge difference when it comes to how people approach religion. So people practice different religions, but you realize that in a more private way. In a more private way. In my country and also other countries, you can go on the streets and then you evangelize people or tell them about God if they're a Christian like me. But I've noticed that in my experience here in China, you cannot go on streets and evangelize to people. It's considered, I would say, it's not allowed. And if you are coming through a business or you are here because you are working or through your school, however way you might have come to China, you'll notice that schools are very strict when it comes to religion. And from the get-go, they might tell you straight up that we do not tolerate evangelism and many other religious practices. So they draw serious boundaries around religion. But I want to also share an honest reflection on that. Based on my experience, I've recognized that being a Christian in China have not necessarily stopped me from believing. I have created a space for myself where I'm able to pray, and I have a place of fellowship. The other time, or some time ago, I shared online that I had gone for fellowship. So people were shocked, and they were like, isn't it that religion is not allowed in China? Da, 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 da. Well, I cannot dispute that. But what I also understand and have experienced is that religion is very regulated. So there are communities of foreigners that are registered or authorized for foreigners to meet and fellowship. So we have a community of foreigners that's registered. So if you are a foreigner, don't just say there are there is no religion in China or Christianity is prohibited. Find a community of people, find places where people meet and they fellowship. You have to find that community for you. I admit that it might not be everywhere like in your country, but there are people that you can fellowship with. There are bodies that are regulated. There are bodies that are registered and are running legally. So you can go there, meet with other foreigners, have fellowship. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. Religion is private, religion is regulated, but it does not mean you can't pray. It does not mean you cannot fellowship. It does not mean you cannot find people of your same faith here in China. So that's one way of keeping your faith thriving in China. Find people and find where they worship and go there, do exactly that. Okay? Let us now go to the sixth aspect, which is mastering the tech landscape. China is so fast when it comes to technology. One of the apps that we are using here in China for buying things, for communicating, is things like WeChat, Weixin, right? Weixin, you can use it to communicate with people. It is also used as an official platform. So if you are here to study, you have to have WeChat. Okay, because you're going to be put together with your classmates in WeChat groups for formal communication. If you have supervisors and colleagues at your workplace, or you just have these suppliers that you want to work with, most of them, they use WeChat, and WeChat is so advanced. You can buy your flight ticket on WeChat. You can book accommodation through WeChat. You can read news through WeChat. You can post services that you offer through WeChat. There are many other platforms or apps that you can be able to use, like Trufubao, Alipay. Alipay is also more of your bank, if I may put it that way. You use it to buy things, to put your money there, to buy tickets for different things, to book for events, etc. You realize that many features of these are in Chinese, but you can always translate them to English. But when it comes to videos and the notices, is it notice? 通知? How do I say 通知? I think it's a notice in English. News, videos, and many things in this platform are put there in Chinese. So it goes back to that very first tip that I gave you. Invest in your language skills. Invest in your language skills. You can be able to translate the news, translate many things, but it's very critical for you to be able to know the language and to master the tech landscape. So embrace technology. You need it. It's not something that you do because you want or whether you're a tech person. China is a tech country. You, my friend, have to be a tech person. Now, let us quickly go to, let us go to number 7. I don't know if you've heard of this saying. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. In Chinese, we say 入乡随俗, which means you have to adopt or adapt to a very flexible mindset. So one of the things that really helped me so fast is to let go of the comparison mindset. If you are living in a foreign country, I feel like comparison is your default. You compare how things are done in your country to the country where you are living in. It is your default. Even when you are buying something even if you are buying something in the shop, you are actually going to compare or convert. You're going to convert that price to your money or to the currency in your country and go, this is expensive. I struggled from this one, especially when it came to hair. In my country, when you get your hair done, it's very cheap. Maybe you get your hair for 400 pula, that's 200 RMB. So when I now went to different salons or maybe had someone braid my hair, and then it costed like 600 RMB, that's almost 1,200 pula. I'm like, this is too much. Okay. But after time, I have learned to let go of comparison and to respect that Chinese prices are Chinese prices. Chinese currency is different from pula. So you have to let go of comparison. Instead, what must you do? You must embrace adaptability and be open-minded, understanding that China will challenge you to grow mentally, emotionally, professionally. Your mindset will be your greatest. Actually, your mindset is your greatest tool in China. Your attitude towards a foreign land. That is your best tool. So I want you to let go of comparing your country to China. Okay? Understand that the way things are done in China is different from the way things are done in your country. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot see areas that need improvement, or it does not mean you cannot give recommendation if you are an expert on how maybe China can improve when it comes to helping foreigners to live better in China. You can be able to do that, but do not live in comparison mode. There are things that you will thrive better if only you adapted. One of the simple things that I gave an example within the previous episode is I've adopted to drinking warm water. I didn't like it at first, but with time I appreciate the benefits that comes with drinking warm water or taking tea throughout the day. So honey, this is a sign for you to stop comparison. Let us go to the next point. Be curious. Ask many questions of why something is happening the way that it is. Now, I've already laid foundation on this one through the previous point when I talked about being flexible. Asking more questions about what is happening, who is doing what, why are people eating this or doing that, is what helps me to navigate China more smoothly. It is what is helping me to be less judgmental. So ask as many questions as you can. Ask questions to your friends, your Chinese friends. Ask your foreigners friends a lot of questions. That's how you learn. And one of the reasons why I do this is because I've noticed that in China, people mind their own business. Like you could be in your house and then you hear crickets outside and you're like, what is really going on? Did I miss the memo? What's the celebration about? You could be at your school. This happens with me so many times. And I'm attending my classes. When I go out, I find that people maybe are graduating or there is an ongoing event that I did not know about. Now, that event would be made maybe for a certain department. So different departments will have different things. They do put out notices outside, but if maybe I'm in the international school like I am, and then something is happening there with biochemistry, I'm most likely not to know what is happening on the other side. So I'm going to notice that there is an event somewhere. So events don't affect, like events within an institution don't affect what is happening within that institution. So nothing affects anything when it comes to activities and events. That's what I'm trying to communicate. You'd be walking down the streets, you see people are putting on gold masks, and you're like, why is everybody putting on a gold mask? Get curious, ask a question, why is this happening? What event did I miss? That's how I got to know so much about what is happening within China. Ask more questions, but also try your best not to be judgmental, because I feel like cultures are different. The way people do things is always going to be different. And I know some of you have shared with me your personal experiences in China to say, you feel like people are, being a foreigner, sometimes interacting with Chinese people can be hard because you feel judged. Look, focus on the bigger picture. You are there because you spotted an opportunity. You don't want to be carried away by frustration of what the Chinese people are doing to you, because most of the time they are already home. Like, that's their destination, their final destination. They're not planning to go abroad. They're not even trying to learn anything about people from the outside. But for you, you want to integrate, you want to understand the environment, you want to take advantage of the available opportunities, get curious, understand what is happening. That's how you move from survival to thriving mode. Now, let us go to the next point, which is learning the rhythm of phase and harmony. I have touched a bit on understanding the culture, but I felt these two, I have to highlight them individually. Phase, this is my phase, is very important in the Chinese culture. It literally translates as this, but it goes beyond that. It means integrity. Chinese people care about what people think about them. They care about what their neighbor feel about them, how you perceive them. That is why when you have agreed to meet a Chinese person at 8 a.m., they will rather come 15 minutes earlier than at 8 or after. So why do they do that? They respect time, but also they care about how you're going to look at them when they come late. This is to tell you that even as a foreigner, you have to be mindful of phase. Phase is what sustains relationships. Don't tell someone that you're going to do something you won't be able to do. Maintain your phase, maintain your integrity. Don't tell someone you're going to pay them on Monday and then you don't pay them money on Monday, and then on Friday you come with 讲故事. 讲故事 means to tell a story. Leave that home. If you have that culture, leave that home, because if you bring it here, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle to build a relationship and to maintain relationship. Another aspect there on the rhythm is the harmony. Chinese people, most of them, or in the context of their culture, they're not confrontational. So they can see that you are not doing something right, and then they don't give you a direct feedback. They'll go round and round. I shared that, remember, on culture. That is how they work. Now you may think, why don't you tell me if you don't like something? The reason why you think like that is because that's how your culture works. The Chinese culture does not work that way. So sometimes even if you don't like something about someone, you do not necessarily tell them. But let me put it this way. They do confront. They do tell you, or they do show you, except that it is the Chinese way and it is your responsibility to figure it out. Again, it's China. We have to be flexible. Remember, we came to China, so we need to know what's happening in the country and how to go about it. Okay, let us quickly look at the last point, which I think is also my favorite. Invest in long-term learning. China is very fast. It changes so fast. The policies, the platform, the language trends, even the city landscapes are changing every single day. So you have to stay engaged through constant learning, reading, finding yourself mentors, reading the news, staying in touch. Mostly read the news about China. I mean, in China, like from Chinese media. Stay in touch with 小红书, Red Note. Understand what people are posting on those WeChat movements. You need to be, you need to be in touch with the reality of where you are. Learn constantly. And then I want to add the last one. I call this one a cherry on top, which is be yourself. I have shared quite a lot with regard to the Chinese culture, but where do you fit in? I want you to know that you can be yourself and still respect people's culture. You do not have to agree with everything that China does. You do not have to love everything that China does or how the Chinese people do things. You don't have to believe in what they believe in. But remember the bigger picture and the reason why you decided to pack your bags, go to China, or the reason why you have decided to interact with China or Chinese people in the first place. It's because you have spotted an opportunity, and the goal is to leverage on the opportunity and make sure that on your way to getting whatever that you want to get from China or learning whatever you want to get, you go through processes, you go through these steps, you take advantage of these tips and these skills. They're going to just push you to get there. I hope that this information is helpful to you. If you watched all the way, you definitely loved it. So go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe, you share with your friends. I have good news. We are in different platforms now. You can watch our platform on YouTube. You can also find us in different other platforms. So go and check Navigating China. I am your host, Nikita Makwana. It's been a pleasure to have you. Until next time, 再见，拜拜。